Let's talk about it. Real truth and power. Health. Wealth. Knowledge of self. Uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.
All right, peace and blessings, family. I am about to start the show. We got a powerful show today, so let's get into it.
You are now tuned in to Real Truth and Power, the show that uplifts the community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. Here's your host, Everett Winchester.
All right, family, peace and blessings. I got my co-host, brother Jrich. He's going to be talking about his new show, Seriously Joking, among other topics. But before I get that in, let me play you. I want to promote my last show, KT Megason, and the movie Snitch he's in. So let me play a little snippet of that before we get going.
He's your friend, right? So, what's your price?
It's bad that I'm even here. And now you are kind of insulting me by making me an offer to kill him.
Everyone has a price. You owe the Havanuk family money. I can pay that debt and all your other debts. But your friend has to go first.
You know that's close to $1 million. Why don't you go and hire someone else for less?
A killing isn't the same unless it's from someone you're close to.
When can I get the money?
Far from a snitch, I just found my niche. So hit my line, I get that info quick. And don't forget to cash at me them chips. I keep a low profile, don't be running your lips.
All right, so that was the series Snitch. You can find that on YouTube. Go to YouTube and watch our previous shows, and you will definitely get it. Now, let me get it in. It's going to be a powerful show. Let me bring in my man, Jrich. Hold on, brother Jrich. I think I got you muted. Let me unmute you real quick, and we can get it in. Peace and blessings, brother. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, brother. I'm doing well. It's been a minute. I know you got a lot going on. So before we even get started, let's just talk about your show real quick that's going to be coming on the Collect the Black People channel, Seriously Joking. Talk about that a little bit, and then let's get in. Let's get it in.
This is the collaboration, you know what I mean? Thanks to my man E, thanks to the Collective Black Movement, you know what I mean, to give us this opportunity. Me and my man Noob, he out there on the East Coast, I'm here on the West, and we're gonna try to include everything in the middle. It's just fast paced, man. We're gonna just talk about everything, man, affecting like Black lives, man, you know what I mean? From, you know what I mean, the marches, the protests, to government, man, to economics, man, bringing in Black business owners, man, to talk about, you know what I mean, different ways, man, we can not only invest but build our community. It's just going to be a little bit of everything. Get down with some music, man, everything, man. We just want to encompass a lot of different topics, man, in a short period of time. It's just going to be fast paced, man. We just going to try to hit it all. You know what I mean? In a nice, fun environment. You know what I mean? We serious, but you know what I mean? At the same time, you know what I mean? Some things, man, you just got to laugh at, you know?
Right. So I want to talk about some serious topics, and I know you had a lot to get off your chest since the last situation. So just get it in, brother, when you want to start. And for all those listening, this is a call-in show. The number is 877 944-8020. Let your voice be heard. Let's talk about it. Let's get it in with my brother Jrich. Call. If you don't agree, if you disagree, just call in. 877-944-8020. But go ahead, Jrich, get it in. Where you want to start?
I want to start, man, with the show that you had the other day, man, that I thought was powerful, man. Hey, man, and congratulations to you, and I hope everything goes well tomorrow. I'm sorry I can't join you down in D.C. Can you give us just a little bit, man? You know, I'm going to turn the tables on you. I'm going to ask some questions. Can you give us just a little bit of what it is that you're actually doing tomorrow? Because I want to get into all of like the comments that you've been bombarded with on like the Facebook page, and people even threatening your life, man, over something that I don't, you know what I mean, that I don't think that they understand, or maybe we're just dealing with like a bunch of unintelligent people. I don't know, but just give us a little snippet of like the red, black, and green, the human flag thing that you're doing tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'm going to be going down there. It's the Real Truth and Power Media. It's sponsored by the Urban Defense, UDTF. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to meet at the Black Museum at the Smithsonian Institute. They're going to walk to the the Washington Monument, and from there they're going to build a powerful human red, black, and green flag. For all those that don't know the history, it all started back in the day. There was a song called "Everybody Has a Flag But the Coon." And so my brother Mosiah Fit from the Urban Defense Task Force, he is going to be there leading the charge. They're going to march, and then they're going to build a human red, black, and green flag created and started by the UNIA, our ancestor Marcus Garvey. And I think it's going to be powerful. For number one, the monument is actually stolen from ancient Kemet, Egypt. And there's a lot of history there I don't want to go into, but just that alone and putting that red, black, and green to show unity for black people, not just in America, across the diaspora of the world, showing unity and that we are one culture it's going to be powerful, brother. It's going to be powerful. Now, on the other note of what you was talking about, with it's and again, there's going to be white people with us. So I want everyone to understand, first of all, that it's not just going to be about black people there. There's going to be white people there. They're going to be showing, you know, unity as a powerful thing. But it's a lot of elder white people, man, making threats, very upset, frustrated with the situation. And, you know, it's nothing I could do but tell them peace and keep it moving. But I think a lot of people are taking it a little personal, but you know, we're going to be there with the Urban Defense Task Force security, and everything's going to be good, brother.
So with that said, the one of the comments, you know what I mean, a person was just like, if you're not going to, you know what I mean, celebrate America, maybe you should find another place. And I asked you the question because simply, you know what I mean, it all blends in. Because Marcus Garvey, you know, one of his movements was what? Go back to Africa.
Right.
What happened to Marcus Garvey? I believe that they kicked him out the country. They killed his followers. You know what I mean? They disbanded his group. They disbanded his government. My correction. They disbanded his government. They killed his followers. They kicked him out of the country. And since then, every other black leader that came along and tried to use the same economics and the same pattern that Garvey tried or what have you, was either killed, you know what I mean, thrown in jail, or the town was burned down and all the people were killed, you know. So when you make a comment like, if you don't want to be here, you should leave. When we were trying to leave, you wouldn't let us go. Every time that we build our own and try to, you know what I mean, just make life a little bit better for like the next generation, you find a way to destroy it. So since you're no longer burning down our communities, you know, we get to the point whereas, and it's well documented, so you can go back and say like, oh, well, that didn't happen, this did happen, that didn't happen. You get to the point where the government not only, you know what I mean, puts out a full-fledged plan to de-emasculate the black man, to sterilize our women. And when that doesn't work, to turn the woman against the man and break up our families. When that doesn't work, then we're going to bring in drugs. We're going to, you know what I mean? The one of the worst things that happened was, you know what I mean, that we tried to come together, and we had this notion that the stores were better somewhere else. You know what I mean? So now all of the stores that we owned in our own community are shut down. All the property that we used to own was retaken. And it's amazing that these people come with these comments as though they have never lived in this country and they know nothing. You know, I find their open ignorance absolutely outstanding. You know what I mean? It's mind blowing on a certain level. To even when we had the discussion about the Redskins, which I want to get into as well. Even when we had the discussion about the Redskins, one person even left a comment. It was just like, we never stole the land from the Indians. Like, where did these people come from?
You know, Brother Jrich, is interesting, and you're speaking on some powerful topics. And I think one of the things you have to understand, as black people, even though we were stripped of our culture and stripped of our knowledge of how we even created most of these systems of the world and education and everything, a lot of white people aren't aware of that. That's number one. A lot of white people, as we talk as black people, and we talk about how the media misconstrues things, the media misinforms white people as well. So a lot of these people are uneducated on the true history. They only know white supremacy and what white supremacy teaches them. And they have a different way of thinking and an uneducated way of thinking. I think sometimes we have to not only educate black people, but educate other cultures as well. You know, we are behind in the race. And I always say this, Dr. Claude Anderson, man, that's like shout out to Dr. Ma'at for putting me down with Powernomics, by the way. When I read that book, this brother was powerful, and he explains race. And I thought race, like everybody else, would be, I'm black, you're white. But he talks about race as a sport, like an actual track race. And it's a race for economic power. It's a race for resources. It's a race for money. It's a race for political power. Our culture is behind that race. And that's okay. We got to get together and unite. And not just unite in America, but unite globally around the diaspora. So that's what the RBG flag is talking about. But going back to what you're saying, the honest of other cultures, they don't even understand how brutal they are, how much white supremacy has destroyed our culture, and how much white supremacy is still in effect today. So a lot of the comments are just ignorance. They don't even know. They just grew up thinking nothing but white, and what they were told. And there's a lot of ignorance going around on both sides.
Another one of the comments, and I think you and I touched on this the other day. The guy said that 90% of all interracial crimes are committed by blacks against whites. And my question to him is, are you including the 500-year head start that you had on this? The other thing is that when the article that he posted on your page or what have you has a political agenda. So right off the bat, you know what I mean? I read it. I was like, some of the things I agree with, some of the things that I didn't, but it has a political agenda. Yeah. And at this point for me, and I know for you, that anytime, and a lot of the people on there, you know what I mean, was making comments, the Democrats think this, the Republicans think that. To me, if you are still on that level where you are looking at the politicians as being, you know what I mean, leaders and caring about me, you, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, then you really don't understand politics. Right. Because this country was formed by rich white men for rich white men, and the laws that have carried on for 244 years have been to their benefit, and it has never been to the benefit of the poor, no matter what color you are. Now the laws may be enforced upon certain races, certain races in a different way, but the laws have never been written for the poor to ever get ahead. Never. Actually, the laws are written in reverse so that you don't. In a capitalistic society, someone has to stay down. And the best way to do that is to put it on paper and show you legally you have to stay in your place. You know, So when you say about these 90% of the crimes, I don't know if you know this, but when we start talking about housing, and you discriminate against a group of people from being able to buy a house in a certain area, a crime is being committed. Who's tracking that crime? When a family goes into a bank or any financial institution to get a loan, and you only offer them these high interest loans that you know that they're not going to accept, a crime is being committed. Who's tracking it? When you go to buy a car and you got a 720 credit score, and they're like, oh man, you just missed it. If you had a 750, you know what I mean, we could have got you with no interest. Instead, we got this 23% interest rate for you. So now by the end of the 6 years, you're going to buy 2 cars. A crime is being committed. Who's tracking that? When little Johnny steals a beer, you know what I mean, in a small town, from the neighborhood store, the police are called. The police show up. He knows Johnny's family because he grew up in that town. He grew up with his parents, or grew up with his uncle, grew up with his family. And he lets Johnny go. When little Jamal comes in there and he steals a cigarette lighter, you arrest him. And then you charge him with a crime. Now all of a sudden it's just like, oh wow, black crime in our community is very high. It's not that black crime in your community is high. It's that you only arresting certain people in your community. And in the whole history of the USA, and call in, tell me that I'm wrong. There's only been one era where people that have been addicted to drugs have been charged as felons, have been charged and thrown in prison, and that was during the crack era. Now that we have the so-called pill poppers, and the Oxycontin and all these people that's on pills, now all of a sudden, because it's no longer the poor people. It's no longer the ones that's, the welfare bound. Now we're talking about upper middle class kids exchanging pills in school. It's upper middle class kids that's getting addicted to like these painkillers, these muscle relaxers. Now all of a sudden we have an opioid addiction, opioid problem, but they're not locking them up. We need to get them help. We need to, we need to work out something with the healthcare industry to get them help. Medicare, and I work with Medicare. Medicare has a clause in place, and it's just for people pretty much that are on drugs that are trying to get help. If you were diagnosed with having a drug problem before you got diagnosed for your mental illness, then they considered that your mental illness was a result of your drug addiction. Therefore, you are not covered. Think about that. There's a serious problem going on. So while all these people are on your timeline talking about, stay in your place, because when the new world order comes, you will see the worst type of slavery that you could ever imagine. It's going to be much worse than it ever was. And that's a direct quote from somebody that wrote this on your page.
Yeah.
You are lost because for whatever reason, you don't realize, that you're in the same boat as we are. If you don't have money, you don't have the political power to escape it, you're in the same boat as us. Your poor cousins, are discriminated against, are arrested 3 times as more as the cousins that come from a family that make over $100,000. You're in the same boat as us.
Yeah, man, you flowing. I want to go into that a little bit because I want to ask you this. I looked at the demographics of a lot of the people that were making negative comments or threatening comments. They were kind of elder, brother. I mean, one lady said, "We will lose and I am dead." And I wanted to reply. I just said, I've already won just by your statement. But I also wanted to say, well, I hope you live to see it when they get me, because you kind of elder. That speaks a little bit about the culture, though. And it's very funny, especially in this day and time where younger white kids are joining the fight. They understand and they are embracing our culture. They want to be a part of it. They are tired of those old ways. And it's the old people that are still stuck on that. I want you to elaborate and talk about the difference between maybe the cultural difference between the elder white people. Now, I'm not saying all young white people, there are races everywhere, black, white, young, old. But talk about the significance of that generational gap and the younger white kids joining the fight, saying, man, enough. White power is done. Black power, we want unity power. We want to embrace the black culture. We want to help them out. Talk about the difference between the youth now that are white and the elder white people.
First of all, I just want to put out that at no point do we ever promote hate on any level. I don't hate white people. I don't think that you hate white people. Right. But when we start talking about justice and equality, then all of a sudden, all this hate comes up, and it comes up against us. And for what? And I just asked my cousin, you know what I mean, right before we went on, like, so if the courts start being fair, you know, and saying, you know what I mean, what's fair is fair. If this police officer killed this man, you know what I mean, and he was not acting in a line of duty along his training, then he's going to prison. What have you lost? Is it costing you any money? Is it costing you your job? Is it costing you your right to go and vote? Is it costing you a line, you know what I mean, at the grocery store? Is it costing you anything at all to give another group justice? Is it taking anything away from you to give somebody else equality, or even just the thought of equality? When we start talking about like some of like these older races, man, you have to realize, man, we just got finished talking about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey lived in a time where these people, their parents, were alive. We're not talking about that long ago. People, when you talk about Marcus Garvey, people think that this is something 300 years ago. It's not. It's only like about 2 or 3 generations ago. We're talking about Marcus Garvey died the same year my grandfather was born. You think about that. You know what I mean? Marcus Garvey died in the same era that a lot of our grandparents or our great-grandparents lived. So his father was alive during the whole UNIA movement. His father, his father didn't die until I was in my 30s. So you think that when you start talking about the birth of a nation, and you're already talking about people that are still mad over slavery or the lack thereof, when you're talking about people that are still passing laws, vagrancy laws, they're saying like, well, if I can't have you as a slave, then you shouldn't be here in this country. Not thinking that we were already in this country before you got here. This is not that far away. These people grew up in this era where you went to church and you came home, you went to church, you walked out of church and you went to a lynching, a public lynching, still in your church clothes, still holding your Bible. It's not that long ago. These people lived through this. These people witnessed this. And now these images don't go away. That hate doesn't go away. And they taught it to their kids. And then they taught it to their kids. You have some people that were a little more removed from that. And they taught their kids, like, you know what I mean? Maybe they had one black friend. And it was just like, you know, yeah, all the stuff that you hear about black people isn't true. So when you start talking about this younger generation, you know, when the next time the new dance comes out, go on YouTube and see who's trying to do it. You know, when you talk about the next fashion statement, go on YouTube, go on Instagram and see who's, you know what I mean, who's following this fashion. You know, like you said, they adopt everything about our culture but us. It's absolutely amazing. They adopt everything about the culture but us. And some of like these younger kids are saying like, there's something wrong with this picture. There's something wrong with this picture. It's not hurting me. You know what I mean? And in fact, how can I even call myself a man? How can I call myself a woman or even a empathetic human being while I'm watching this police officer with his knee on this man's neck killing it. And I go home and I post up, oh, he's a criminal. He got exactly what he deserved.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's an ex-con. He served his time. What crime was he committing? Not one person has come up with the fake $20 bill that he was supposedly passing. Not one. I'll give you even better. When we talk about the generational, racism that is passed down in this country, you have a